Christmas is meant to be a season of joy, connection, and warmth. But over time, it quietly became something else too. The most financially dangerous moment of the year. Not because people earn less in December, and not because prices magically double, but because the holiday spirit flips an emotional switch that makes even responsible, hard-working Americans spend as if their budget suddenly had no limits. It happens subtly. You see the lights, hear the music, feel the nostalgia, and your brain enters a state of false abundance. For a few weeks, it's like the rules don't apply. And that's exactly when we fall into the 10 emotional traps of holiday spending. Small decisions that feel harmless in the moment, but turn into credit card bills, stress, and regret in January. In this video, we're breaking down each of those traps. And we're doing it through the lens of financial psychology, behavioral science, and timeless wisdom from people like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, who've spent their lives warning us about emotional decision-making, cognitive biases, and the long-term cost of short-term impulses. And here's the promise. You're going to learn how to avoid every one of these traps without killing the holiday magic, without becoming the cheap person in the group, and without falling into the consumer-driven pressure that turns a joyful season into a debt-filled January. Because here's the truth. Christmas doesn't break your budget. Emotional spending does. And once you learn to spot the triggers behind those decisions, everything changes. Your money lasts longer. Your January feels lighter. And the holidays become peaceful again, the way they were meant to be. Every year, as December rolls in, something almost magical and dangerously misleading happens to our mindset. The holiday atmosphere creates this warm illusion that everything is fine, that money is plentiful, and that spending just a little more is completely harmless. It's not that we suddenly become irresponsible. It's that the season itself blurs our perception of limits. Think about how common this is. Millions of Americans start January staring at credit card statements that feel like a cold slap in the face. Those extra gifts, the last-minute decorations, the restaurant dinners, the "it's the holidays, why not" moments. None of these decisions felt reckless at the time. Yet somehow, by the first week of January, they add up to a weight people will carry for months. And here's the part most people never admit. This doesn't happen because people are careless. It happens to smart, responsible, hardworking people every single year. Why? Because the holiday season is emotionally loaded. It mixes nostalgia, social pressure, generosity, guilt, comparison, expectations, and tradition, all at once. When those emotions overlap, even the most disciplined person can spend in ways that don't align with their real priorities. But the real issue isn't spending money. The real issue is how we spend it. We make decisions in December that our January selves never agreed to. Decisions influenced more by emotion than intention. It's like paying for 48 hours of holiday impulse with 12 weeks of financial stress. And if you've ever looked at your bank account in January and thought, "How did this happen again?" You're not alone, and you're not the problem. The problem is the environment we step into every holiday season, one that's designed to make overspending feel normal. But here's the good news. Once you understand the psychology behind these choices, you can rewrite the pattern. You can enjoy the season fully, the traditions, the gifts, the gatherings, without sacrificing your financial peace. Before we dive into each emotional trap and how to avoid it, here's the big picture. There are 10 core principles that can completely transform how you handle money during the holidays. Each one exposes a hidden psychological trigger or financial pattern that quietly drives overspending, the kind that feels harmless in December but hurts in January. These principles aren't complicated. They're practical, intuitive, and incredibly effective when used with intention. And you don't need to master all 10 to see a real difference. In fact, if you apply just 3 of them this year, you'll already feel a lighter, more controlled, more confident holiday season. Think of this as your personal roadmap, a guide to enjoying Christmas with clarity instead of chaos, emotion with balance, and generosity without regret. The holiday season has a strange way of making us believe we can stretch our money further than reality allows. It's not intentional, it's emotional. When December arrives, our brains process spending differently. The music, the decorations, the colder weather, the traditions. All of it works together to soften our internal financial brakes. And here's the part most people don't even notice. Your perception of what's reasonable quietly shifts. Maybe you normally keep your spending tight, but in December, suddenly doubling the budget on gifts feels justified. Buying an upgraded version of something because it's Christmas feels normal. Emotional decisions don't feel emotional. They feel logical in the moment. Take a simple example. Someone who usually spends $50 on a gift ends up spending $100, not because they planned it, but because the holiday spirit whispered, "It's okay. It's Christmas." Multiply that by a few gifts, a few events, a few impulsive purchases, and the financial impact becomes real. But here's the solution. Set your spending limits before the emotional triggers begin. Decide your ceilings before the music, the sales, and the social pressures start influencing you. When you define numbers with a clear head, you protect yourself from December's emotional pull. The benefit? Your decisions become intentional, not reactive. And you eliminate the January regret that comes from choices you wouldn't have made in any other month. There's a quiet pressure during the holidays that almost no one talks about. The pressure to impress, to give the most exciting gift, to show up with something expensive, to look generous, successful, or put together. But here's the truth. Most people learn too late. Holiday spending done to impress others is an investment with guaranteed negative returns. The psychology behind it is simple. We want approval. We want to be seen as thoughtful, caring, or successful. And somewhere in that emotional mix, price becomes a shortcut for meaning, even though it shouldn't. Think about it. How many times have people bought pricey gifts that were forgotten within weeks? Or spent money they didn't have to maintain an image no one was really measuring? Most impressive gifts offer zero long-term value to the receiver and long-term financial stress to the giver. Here's a better strategy. Redefine your personal metrics of success. Instead of asking, "Will this make me look good?" ask, "Does this reflect my values? Does it strengthen the relationship? Does it make sense for my financial reality?" Because when your self-worth isn't tied to a price tag, your confidence grows, and your spending becomes healthier, lighter, and far more authentic. The benefit is huge. You save money, protect your emotional well-being, and build a stronger sense of self that doesn't depend on impressing anyone. Warren Buffett has a simple philosophy about debt. Avoid the kind that takes your peace before it takes your money. And during the holidays, this advice becomes more valuable than ever. Because December is the month when small payments suddenly look harmless. A $25 monthly installment here, a 0% interest for 6 months, offer there. A quick swipe for something you didn't plan to buy. It feels manageable until all those micro decisions combine into a financial snowball you never intended to roll. Take a common example. Someone upgrading to a new phone because of a holiday sale. The monthly payment sounds tiny, but once that purchase is in motion, it often leads to a cycle. New accessories, higher data plans, more upgrades, and before they know it, they're trapped in a loop of paying for items that lose value the second they're unboxed. Here's the rule Buffett would approve of. Only finance what grows in value, not what immediately depreciates. If something will be worth less tomorrow than it is today, it doesn't deserve long-term payments attached to it. When you avoid these peace-stealing debts, you give yourself a priceless gift, the ability to enjoy the holidays without anxiety trailing behind every monthly bill. Most people understand compound interest as a powerful force for building wealth. But during the holidays, the opposite version, the reverse snowball, becomes one of the most destructive financial traps. Here's how it happens. You make a purchase thinking, I'll pay it off later. Maybe it's a $500 gift, a last-minute trip, or something you convinced yourself was worth it. But then January arrives with higher bills, unexpected expenses, and the holiday momentum finally fades. Suddenly, you're carrying a balance, and that balance begins to grow. And it grows fast. Let's say that $500 purchase sits on a high-interest credit card. Add a few late payments, and suddenly you're staring at a total closer to $200, more than double the original price. Not because you spent more, but because interest kept accumulating quietly in the background. That's the reverse snowball, when your debt compounds faster than your ability to pay it off. Here's the fix. Take down your highest interest debt first. Even if it's not the biggest balance, it's the one doing the most damage. Eliminating that top-layer interest gives you immediate relief and builds momentum. Real financial freedom starts with removing the heaviest weight. And the benefit? You stop the silent leak draining your money and reclaim control over your financial direction. Somewhere along the way, many of us absorbed the idea that love is measured by the price of a gift, especially during the holidays. But deep down, we all know that isn't true. A meaningful Christmas isn't built on expensive presents. It's built on connection, presence, and intention. Yet every year, people let guilt and expectation push them into spending far beyond what aligns with their real priorities. Parents stretch their budgets to make Christmas magical. Friends overspend to avoid seeming cheap. Families compete, quietly, over who gives the best gift. But here's a powerful truth many families have already discovered. Love doesn't get stronger when the price tag gets higher. Take a simple example. A family that agrees on modest, thoughtful gifts. Maybe homemade, maybe small, maybe symbolic. The result? A holiday full of warmth and zero financial chaos. No pressure, no comparison, no January regret, just connection. Here's the action step. Set a spending limit per person and honor it. This isn't restrictive. It's liberating. It creates fairness, clarity, and freedom. It removes the emotional pressure to outgive anyone and refocuses Christmas on what actually matters. The benefit is powerful. You protect your finances and you protect the meaning of the season. If there's one pattern that quietly drains more money during Christmas than almost anything else, it's this: improvisation, last-minute shopping, rushed decisions, forgetting someone's gift, panic buying at the mall on December 23rd. All of it adds up to what I call the chaos tax, the premium you pay for not planning ahead. And here's the thing: the chaos tax is always expensive. Imagine two people buying gifts. One planned ahead, made a list, set a budget, and shopped early. The other waited until the last minute. They pay higher prices, choose faster shipping, grab whatever's available, and often overspend because stress makes every option look good enough. Same goal, same holiday, but two completely different financial outcomes. The holiday season already brings enough pressure. Your money doesn't need extra stress piled on top. Here's the simple fix. Create a mini December budget before the month starts. List out gifts, events, meals, travel, and small extras. Give each category a number. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to exist. Because when you plan ahead, you replace chaos with clarity. And the benefit is immediate. You spend less, you think clearer, and you avoid the trap of rushed decisions that always cost more than you expect. Charlie Munger had a great way of describing unnecessary danger, avoidable, foolish risks. And if there's one time of the year when those risks multiply, it's during the holiday shopping season. Retailers know exactly how to tap into your psychology. Limited time deals, countdown timers, only 2 left messages, holiday exclusives that will never come back. These tactics activate cognitive biases that push you to buy quickly and emotionally instead of intentionally. And that's how people end up purchasing things not because they need them, but because the item was such a good deal. But a good deal on something you didn't actually need is still a bad deal. Take a simple example. Someone walks into a store to buy one gift, sees a huge sale, and walks out with 5 items that were never on their list. Each purchase felt justified in the moment, thanks to those psychological triggers. But none of it was part of a real plan. Here's the antidote. Use the 24-hour rule before buying anything that wasn't already on your list. If you still want it the next day, it might be worth considering. If not, it was just impulse dressed up as opportunity. And the benefit? You spend with purpose, not pressure, and avoid the exact kind of risk Munger warned us about. At its best, Christmas isn't about accumulation. It's about intention. But somewhere along the way, the season became less about meaning and more about marketing. We're surrounded by messages telling us to buy bigger, upgrade everything, and show love through things instead of moments. A conscious Christmas is the opposite of that. It starts with a simple shift. Spend with purpose, not pressure. Instead of asking, "What should I buy?" try asking, "What experience or memory do I actually want to create?" This mindset completely changes the holiday. Suddenly, you're not chasing sales. You're prioritizing meaning. You're choosing what aligns with your values instead of what stores are pushing. And more often than not, the things that truly matter don't come with a hefty price tag. Think about the difference between giving someone an expensive item that loses value immediately versus planning an experience, a dinner, a trip, a shared activity that becomes a memory they carry for years. Experiences build connection. They build stories. They build closeness. Here's the action step. Define the purpose behind every purchase. If it doesn't create joy, strengthen a relationship, or align with what you value, it probably doesn't deserve your money. The payoff is huge. A holiday season filled with moments instead of stress, connection instead of clutter, and memories that last long after the decorations come down. If there's one tool that can instantly reduce emotional spending during the holidays, it's this: a simple, intentional list. It sounds basic, almost too basic, but its impact is huge. Because when you enter the holiday season without a plan, every store, ad, and sale decides for you what you're going to buy. A list flips that dynamic. It gives you control. Think about the difference between walking into a mall with a clear plan versus walking in just to browse. Without a list, everything looks tempting. Every display feels urgent. Every sale feels like an opportunity. And suddenly, you're spending on things that weren't part of your holiday vision at all. But with a list, your brain shifts from reactive to intentional. You move with purpose. You buy what matters, not what shouts for your attention. A practical example. Someone goes shopping with no list and ends up with extra gifts, decorations, and impulse buys they never budgeted for. Another person comes in with a list and a spending cap for each category: gifts, food, travel, events. The second person spends less, stresses less, and leaves feeling in control instead of overwhelmed. Here's the action step. Create a complete holiday list before you start shopping, and set a spending limit for each category. It becomes your emotional anchor, your financial guardrail, and your best defense against impulse-driven decisions. At the end of the day, the real value of Christmas has never been found in the size of a gift or the price printed on a receipt. The heart of the holiday, the part people remember decades later, is built on connection, presence, and shared moments. That's the true wealth of Christmas. But every year, many people unintentionally swap meaning for material. They focus on what goes under the tree instead of who gathers around it. And yet, when you ask families what they cherish most, the answers are almost always the same. The conversations, the laughter, the traditions, the time together. I've seen families make a powerful shift. Instead of spending hundreds on gifts, they choose a different approach. Maybe a shared dinner, a simple exchange, or even a tradition of writing letters instead of buying items. And what happens? The holiday becomes richer, calmer, and far more memorable. Here's the action. Prioritize moments over merchandise. Ask yourself, what memory can I create that will matter in 10 years? That simple question changes everything. The benefit is profound. A Christmas that strengthens relationships, protects your financial peace, and leaves you feeling full instead of depleted. As we step back and look at the patterns, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Your financial future isn't shaped by big, dramatic moments. It's shaped by small decisions repeated over time. And the holiday season is one of the moments when those small decisions matter the most. Every swipe, it's just one gift, every last-minute purchase, they all build a direction. And here's the empowering part. You decide which direction that is. Think about the version of you who steps into January feeling calm, confident, and in control. The version who isn't afraid to check the bank account or open a credit card statement. That version doesn't appear by luck. It appears because you chose intention over impulse, clarity over chaos, meaning over pressure. And yes, it takes discipline. But discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's choosing long-term peace over short-term emotion. It's telling yourself, I deserve a holiday season that doesn't leave a scar in January. Because here's the honest consequence of not acting. If nothing changes, next year will look exactly the same. Same stress, same debt, same regret. The cycle continues, and it gets heavier with time. But it doesn't have to. This can be the first Christmas that doesn't weigh on your wallet. The first December you navigate with intention. The first holiday season where you celebrate without sacrificing your financial well-being. And when you look back years from now, this might be the moment you identify as the turning point. The season you finally decided to rewrite the story. If this video brought you clarity, relief, or even just one insight that can save your January, now it's your turn to take action. First, hit the like button. It tells YouTube this content matters and helps it reach more people who need it. Then, drop a comment below answering a simple but powerful question. Which of the 10 principles are you going to apply today? Your answer might inspire someone else who's struggling with the same holiday pressures. And if you want more videos on financial clarity, emotional spending, and practical money strategies, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel exists to help you build a calmer, more intentional financial life, one choice at a time. Finally, share this video with a family member or friend. Sometimes, avoiding debt is a team effort, and one shared insight can save an entire household from January regret. As we close this journey, remember this: financial freedom rarely arrives in grand moments. It's built quietly, through small, intentional choices that protect your peace. And the holiday season, with all its emotion and pressure, is one of the best opportunities you have to practice that intention. This year, choose a Christmas that feels light. Choose moments over things. Choose presence over pressure. Choose a version of the holidays that strengthens your relationships and your financial well-being. Because every time you set a limit, pause before a purchase, or remind yourself of what truly matters, you're doing more than saving money. You're building a future grounded in clarity instead of chaos. You're proving to yourself that you're capable of rewriting old patterns and creating new ones that serve you. So here's my final wish for you. May this be a Christmas that brings peace to your heart, joy to your home, and confidence to your financial life. A Christmas that feels meaningful, intentional, and aligned with who you want to become. Here's to a light, conscious, and prosperous holiday season, and to the powerful choices that will shape every year that comes after it.